Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today our group will present about ICT role on workers and students during pandemic COVID-19. So before we start, let me introduce our team members. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted the livelihoods of every Malaysian and the world. The outbreak has and still impacting all industries, including workers and educational sectors. Many hope that lives will go back to normal as soon as possible, but we must accept that we live in a new normal. That's why the need for ICT become exponentially increased with this pandemic situation, especially working and education sectors, to help them adapt to a new normal. Next, we move to target group. This directory is intended for everyone that is interested with current issue regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, especially for people in Malaysia. Also specifically, this directory is for researchers in education department and workers industry to research about the role of ICT towards students and workers.
Next, we move to the justification of the study. So, the purpose of this study is to find out how ICT help the workers and students completing their daily tasks. As you know, this pandemic has limited all people to meet each other with a movement control order or known as MCO. So, in this study, we get to know the types of ICT used and the role of ICT to students and workers, and next we also get to know how effectiveness of ICT during this pandemic and the negative impact of COVID-19 to the workers and students.
The first topic of this project about the types of ICT used during the time of COVID-19, and at this topic I divided into two subtopics, which is subtopics of social media and electronic devices. And in this topic also, 10 sources had been inserted in this directory, which is 5 sources are from journal articles and 3 sources are from websites, and the other 2 sources are from online newspaper, which is from Berita Harian and Astro Awani. Then, to be concluded from the first topic is the use of ICT during the pandemic time has totally helped the workers and the students in completing their work, and thus even they had to work from home and attend online classes. Then a ton of ICT had used such as electronic devices, which is smartphone, laptop, internet and radio and so on, has been used by all types of users from the primary school student until the workers and also the housewife. This medium has helped a lot of workers and students in acquire information and spreading the right information to complete the assessment. And lastly, during this crisis, a lot of social media has been used by the workers and students to communicate with their customer or their lecturer or students. For instance, students could share the information with their lecturer or their classmate through social media such as Padlet and Google Drive, while lecturer can use Zoom meeting, Microsoft Teams and Skype to attend meetings or conducting a class with the student.
Next, I will talk about the second topic, which is the ICT role on students. Throughout this topic, I have divided all 10 articles into 3 main subtopics, which are the first one, ICT and e-learning, consists of 5 articles, which are the right of education and ICT during COVID-19 and international perspective, the role of information technology in education during COVID-19 pandemic, the role of e-learning in COVID-19 crisis, online and remote learning in higher education institutes, a necessity in light of COVID-19 pandemic, and the last one is information communication technology in education. Generally, these articles studied on the general role of ICT on students during this pandemic that requires an online teaching instead of face-to-face learning, just like times before this pandemic. This subtopic also focusing on the process during this educational crisis as well as the preparation to develop this distance learning by both teachers and students. The second subtopic is ICT and education in specific countries. I have gathered 3 articles that studied on the situation of online learning in Ghana, Sultan Qaboos University in Oman, and in Spain. Generally, these 3 articles studied about the online learning situation throughout this pandemic. As example, the study on Ghana revealed that they are not very capable to cope with this e-learning as there are very lack of resources and internet access. The last subtopic is challenges and issues related to ICT. I have listed 2 articles with title Challenges and Issues using ICT for teachers and students during COVID-19 pandemic and its overcoming techniques. The second one is factors influencing the use of technology by higher education teachers and impact of COVID-19. The obstacles throughout to implementing this e-learning, such as bad internet access and students' readiness, are discussed, and few solutions were suggested to adapt to this new norm.
I found 3 online newspapers, 2 website articles, 4 journal articles, and 1 online news about ICT role on workers during COVID-19. All sources that I found is easy to understand because all in Malay language. As we know, this pandemic COVID-19 gives us many effects on health, especially movement. COVID-19 caused effect to many workers that lose their job because all companies need to close that order by the Malaysian government. The pressure of losing their job make many cases happen to Malaysians, such as having to lie to his wife, and including many suicide cases. For work from home increased during COVID-19 by using media social platforms like WhatsApp, Telegram, and the best way to communicate for workers can use online medium like Zoom application and Google Meet to work and do meeting. In this pandemic, more job demand in technology skill need because the technology is very important to recovery and also transform the national economy. Therefore, workers are encouraged to work from home to prevent COVID-19 further spread.
Next, we move to the effectiveness of ICT during the pandemic. Before that, my name is Siti Asha binti Ahmad Puan. My matric number 1172062. This topic contains 10 sources consisting of online journals, websites, and news. The first journal explains the benefit of technology in general as well as its benefit. Subtopic for this topic is the source of information, community and emotional support, and enhance the skill. The first article for subtopic source of information is entitled What is the role of social media during the COVID-19 crisis? The second material from the Berita Harian Online shows that the advent of ICT makes society more aware to current issues. Thirdly, an article from the UPM entitled The Impact of ICT Throughout the MCO. Next, the sources for the subtopic Community and Emotional Support. Firstly is the mental health and psychosocial consideration during the COVID-19 outbreak. This article from the World Health Organization provides advice and suggestion to maintain physical and mental health through ICT. Then, an article from UPM mentioned the mental health of students of IPT throughout the MCO. Thirdly, the article entitled Psychology during COVID-19 from the THM website. The last subtopic is ICT can enhance the skill during the pandemic. Related material is an article from Helvetas written by Lisa Marina entitled The Promise of Employment during COVID-19, Non-Formal Training and ICT Skills. The second article is entitled Pandemic Search of ICT Skill Level Desire. Thirdly, an article from Astro Awani on harnessing mobile technology during the COVID-19 crisis. This article encourages people to find new skills from the internet to fill their time more effectively. That's all from me. Thank you.
Next, we move to negative impact of COVID-19 to students and workers. One of the main impact is declining in mental health quality. Among the reason is first is family problem, next is financially problem, and then unemployed. This will have a huge negative impact on workers and students. Next, negative impact of COVID to workers specifically. First, workers' mental health keep deteriorating. Next, many has lost their job and employed. Next, the high level of stress in workplace. Next is difficult to work in a new norm situation. Lastly, a negative impact of COVID-19 to students specifically. First, student performance has declining over the year. Next, they become hard to adapt to a new normal. The students and parents' productivity has been disrupted. And finally, students' physical and social life is greatly affected.
In conclusion, technology must ensure that everyone can access the information they need. COVID-19 is the first pandemic in human history when technology and social media are widely used to keep people safe, productive, and connected while physically distanced. Therefore, it is very important to use technology in MCO time as a more effective way of filling time. That's all from us. Thank you.